What's up, guys? I'm John Jewett here with Centopani. Today we want to start covering our nutrition series. With the start of this, we're going to do digestion. And digestion is important just for multiple reasons. It's how our food enters the body. Organ systems interact all together. So digestion is important, especially for bodybuilding, to optimize function and make the most of your food that you're intaking. Also, from a health aspect, all these foods play different roles. And so we're just going to start addressing which foods are our main arsenal to really choose from in optimizing health.
The way we're going to do this is we're going to do draft picks. So we're going to flip a coin, and whoever wins the coin toss is going to get the first round draft pick. And then we're going to go back and forth. John's going to assemble his team of digestion optimizing foods, and so am I. So without further ado, here's the toss. What, heads or tails?
Let's go tails.
It's tails. So you get first pick. You get to pick your number one digestion aiding food. All the stuff we have here.
Now, I'm going to think in advance, because I know what Evan might be picking. And I have to say, I'm going to go and hit the olive oil first.
Good, that was not my choice.
It might not have been his choice, but the reason I'm picking this one is, for one, the big thing is inflammation. So with gut health, a lot of the issues arise from an inflammatory process. A lot of conditions arise from that. You have colitis, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, but a lot of distress that happens in the gut is from inflammation. So all your omega-3 fatty acids, this one being high in monounsaturated fats, can help with decreasing the inflammatory process. So this is one that I would put in. And I do consume, I usually use it as a topping. I know some people use it to cook with, but I'll use topping in my foods. And the extra virgin, it does give it a little taste. So if you're mixing it with certain chicken and rice dishes, I think it goes well with. So this one's going to be my first pick.
My first pick, beets. Now, in my opinion, beets are one of the best things you could do for your digestion, mainly because they're so beneficial to the liver. Now, the liver is your liver health is kind of imperative when it comes to having optimal digestion. If your liver is not functioning well, your digestion is not going to be proper. So beets, right, not only help to move the bowels. Now, same thing, if you're not digesting things at a sufficient rate, you're not excreting things, stuff starts to back up, not good. Beets help to move the bowels. They stimulate appetite. They definitely stimulate digestion overall. Added benefit, nitric oxide precursor. Beet juice, people also consume. I like the beets in the whole form because the added fiber. And if I was going to pick one way to prepare them, I like them raw. I'll peel them and then use a grater and grate them very, very finely and top them with either some vinegar or some oil or both. And just have them as a side dish, with some chicken or whatever it is I happen to be eating. But because, they're not bad tasting, they're a little bit earthy, but they're, they do have some sugar in them, but they're not super high in overall carbohydrates. So they can fit most people's diets. So I even use them if I'm in a pre-contest prep. That's my number one pick, beets.
Next on the list for me will be sauerkraut. I'll use this year round, whether I'm in off season or pre-contest. Selecting your sauerkraut, it is important, because if you get like a canned or one that's been used in the heating process,
like this one, don't buy this one. This was just for demonstration.
Yeah, just demonstration. The issue with, it's a fermented food, so you are putting live cultures in there, and that's how it's made. So the benefit of it is having live probiotic in it. So heating would kill off those live bacteria. So you want to find one, it'll actually have to say on the label like live active cultures. It'll list the cultures. It can say probiotic on it.
Raw,
usually it's going to be, or raw and pasteurized. It'd be usually always in a refrigerated section is where you're going to be finding it. It's not going to be on a shelf. So benefits to it, just having more probiotic, good beneficial bacteria, help balance the gut pH. A great way to optimize digestion. I'll usually use it for adding in I like it with my beef meals when I'm doing beef. It gives a good taste along with it. And it just goes well. It's kind of, I've never used it like, I don't know, with the chicken meal or something.
That's how I do it, chicken.
Yeah, you do it with chicken meal? All right, well, each his own, right? So, but for me, yeah, beef meal. So I'll do like twice a day, like 1 ounce or so. I don't really measure it. It's just something I use as a topping, but number 2 pick.
Okay, my turn. It's a tough choice.
Are you getting down to it?
It's a tough choice, but I'm going to go with the ginger root.
Okay.
This is your next pick. Ginger is high in certain volatile oils that, I guess if you were going to describe it, whether it was, Indian medicine, they would say it has a warming effect. That it actually adds digestive fire. What that means is basically it strengthens your digestion. Helps to eliminate gas. It'll help to cut through, if you're eating a meal that's a little heavier in fat, stuff like that. It'll help to cut through that. Also, helps to knock down some bad bacteria in the gut. Help rebalance gut flora. Incredibly, incredibly beneficial. You will notice if you are somebody who has kind of weak digestion, adding this to your daily food intake, whether you choose to boil it and drink it as a tea or grate it up and add it to something like your rice. That's one of the things I like to do. Your digestion overall will be much better. Your stomach should feel flatter. Your appetite should be strong, and you shouldn't really have much in the way of gas or acid reflux. That's my pick, ginger.
It's a good stimulant for gut motility. So even if you're in off season, and I've had people ask me like, how do you eat so much food in the off season? And it's ginger's really good for it because it does help promote digestion and can help you feel full. Some of these products that are coming out that use like for appetite stimulants, they're using like ginger extracts in them. So, and I usually do like about a teaspoon minced. You can just throw it in with your meal. So
one of the biggest challenges that we face as bodybuilders, especially once we get to a certain level, is consuming enough food. You get tired of eating it, you fill up, and it becomes a serious challenge to be able to consume a sufficient amount of calories on a daily basis. So optimizing digestion, not only so that we can continue to eat more, but also to make more of the food that we are consuming is such a key factor, and it's often incredibly overlooked. So, anything that will allow you to eat more is a good thing.
Yeah, and it's a great point. And like we have rice and potatoes, and those aren't really going to be our like digestive aids that are picking up. But what Evan's saying is, looking at foods that are digesting well for you. We have foods that we want to add in to help with digestion, but if you're digesting something poorly to begin with, it's something to look at, assess your diet, notice like if you're eating a meal, do you feel bloated? Do you feel gassy? Are you feeling reflux after it? And let that be a mental trigger to know like, okay, what food in that meal is causing issues? Switch one out at a time and kind of go from there. So, like for instance, for me, I brought these potatoes out because when I eat over 200 grams of potato in a meal, I start getting super bloated, and I can't eat anymore. It makes me full for, longer in the day. So for me, maybe switching to like rice or adding rice along with that meal would be best. But
like, I'm not against like the consumption of like bread or pasta, but I'm sure you would probably agree. Consuming 200 grams of carbohydrates from something like rice versus consuming 200 grams of carbohydrates from something wheat-based like, bread or pasta, the rice is just going to digest easier. Absolutely. And you'll be able to consume more. You don't want to eat food that's just going to fill you up and bloat you and prevent you from consuming the amount of calories you need to consume.
Yeah, I would completely agree. And so digestion, kind of going off that, how to optimize it, I think my number 3 pick is going to be the pineapple.
Wise choice.
For one, it just tastes great. I use it post-workout. For one, it's just super refreshing, but also it has bromelain in it, which is a protein enzyme.
Bromelain.
You like that? Bro. So one of my post-workout meals is beef and rice, and I'll have pineapple. And it just seems, I know people say like, consuming these enzymes, maybe they get broken down and they don't cause a lot of actual protein digestion, but just anecdotally, just me doing it seems to help with that meal digestion. And then the other benefit of bromelain, if it can actually get absorbed and take up in the serum, it helps with inflammation. And people say it might have like a pain benefit or benefit in the joints. So not a lot of research there to kind of verify that, but it's very very kind of anecdotal, but at least for me, I feel like it does make a difference. And if anything, hey, it tastes good, and
pretty low in fructose.
Yeah,
high in maybe an overall sugar, but being primarily glucose, so not really an issue.
And in the big picture too, the amount of sugar or even fructose you're consuming, it's a small percentage.
Right. Also, I remember one time I was going to say, I'm going to make pineapple chicken. I'm going to marinate my chicken in pineapple. I did it overnight. The next day, the chicken had turned to like paste. It was like
start breaking it.
It was like this. No, really, it was like disintegrated. It was not usable. So yes, anybody who's not sure if there is any real enzymatic activity going on with something like pineapple, absolutely. Yeah, if you have a large meal, I like it. Especially if I eat like a steak, I'll have a little bit of that for dessert, and I feel good. And like John said, a lot of people will say, from a systemic point of view, do enzymes work systemically? Some people say, well, no, the molecules are too large to enter the bloodstream, etc. But think about this, right? The body produces enzymes. If you're consuming it from an outside source like that, then maybe it's less that the body itself has to expend and it can delegate elsewhere. So I think it's worth doing, which is why my round 3 pick is papaya. Does not contain bromelain, but has a huge amount of papain, also a protein digesting enzyme. And one of the things about papaya, although it is not as delicious tasting as pineapple, some people say it's not appealing at all, it is very low in overall sugar, comparatively speaking to, compared to most other fruits. So, if you're somebody who's worried, about consuming too much sugar, too many carbohydrates, papaya could suit you a little bit better. Great for digestion. I remember post-surgery when I had my knee done, I started consuming quite a bit of papaya. And, a lot of times when you go in, under the knife and they give you anesthesia, you get insanely constipated. As soon as I came out, I started eating this, and I was dropping the biggest logs you ever saw. So, great for digestion. Round 3, done. You've seen us each make our first 3 picks. Stay tuned. We're going to go through the rest of this stuff here.